The sky over Veltria turned red dot not from sunset, but from fire dot the great city of Helion burned. Its towers, once shining with crystal lights, now collapsed in smoke and ruin. People screamed in every direction. Buildings shattered under powerful blasts. Soldiers ran, but their weapons had no effect on an enemy no one understood had arrived. They didn't speak. They didn't negotiate. They came from the void machines with black armor, tall and silent, with eyes that glowed like cold fire. Wherever they landed, only death followed. The Council of Veltria had sent messages across every known star system. Help us. Please, we are under attack. Coordinates attached. They sent the message once, then again, then 1,000 times. Some signals vanished. Others bounced back. Their allies? Silent? Their neighbors? Hiding. Only the stars listened. Inside a dark command center deep under the mountains, Council Leader Ralvik stood with shaking hands. His people were dying. The last wall of their defense system had fallen only minutes ago. A young officer ran up to him. Sir, still no response. Ralvik closed his eyes. We are forgotten. No, whispered the officer. We are alone, but far, far away, beyond known space. Earth received the signal. It was late night at Station Blackpoint, orbiting Saturn. Most systems were on. Standby. A single technician, a woman named Terra, noticed a small flicker on her console. Unusual traffic? She muttered. What's this? She pressed a few buttons. A signal, broken and scrambled, played through the speakers. Help. Helion, under siege, lives lost, coordinates attached. Kara froze. The signal was old, repeating over and over. But the data inside was valid. A real location. A real attack. And nobody had answered. She called it in. Within 10 minutes. All lights on the station turned red. A hidden protocol activated. Systems that hadn't run in decades came online. Kara's hands trembled as military ships near the moon changed course. And aligned with the coordinates, a voice echoed from Earth's main command. Confirmed SOS. Unidentified enemy. Deploying Ghost Unit. Back on Veltria, the end was near. The enemy machines moved closer to the Capitol dome. Defense turrets fired, but the machines adapted. Every blast was answered with twice the force. The skies filled with dark shapes, like insects from a nightmare. Inside the command center, the power flickered. Ralvik stood tall. If this is the end, he said, then we die defending our home. Suddenly, a new alert blinked on their central screen. Unknown ships approaching? What? From where? Shouted the officer. They came from the dark side of the moon, not enemy craft. They're unmarked. Everyone stared. Camera feed showed strange ships entering the atmosphere. They moved fast like shadows, but clear as they approached. Black metal, sharp edges, silent engines. One ship paused above the city and released something. A pod. It fell from the sky like a meteor and hit the ground near. The city's main gate. Boom. Dust and fire exploded into the air. The council officers watched in silence. Out of the smoke, a figure walked. Tall, human-shaped, covered in dark armor. No face. Just a helmet with a red line glowing across the eyes. Another pod dropped. Then another. One by one, the dark soldiers arrived. No flags. No names. No words. Just presence. Ralvik leaned in. Who are they? One officer whispered. Humans. Ralvik blinked. Earth? But they don't speak to anyone anymore. They did now. In a war-torn street outside the gates, a small alien child hid under broken stone. Her mother had vanished. Enemy machines marched nearby. Then a loud thud. She looked up. A human soldier stood in front of her. He didn't move for a moment. Then Slowly, he pulled out a strange device and pressed a button. A shield formed around her. He didn't speak. He just turned around and faced the machines, and charged. Back at the Council Command Center, a final message appeared on the screen. Earth has received your signal. Stand down. Operation begins now. Ralvik stared. His voice was barely a whisper. They heard us. The alien skies were dark, but the streets of Veltria were now filled with strange lights, cold blue glows, blinking red dots, and shadows moving fast between the ruins. The humans had landed. No flags, no speeches, no promises. Just silence. Action. Ralvik stood at the top of the command tower, watching from a shattered window. His world was ending, and now these strangers had arrived like ghosts. He had expected loud war cries or demands for command, but they said nothing. They simply moved. One group of humans marched across the burning district. Each of them wore black armor shaped like a second skin. Their movements were precise, almost robotic. But these were no machines. These were Earth's most dangerous humans, and they were on a mission. Down below, the enemy machines tried to adapt. They scanned the newcomers, trying to find weaknesses. One bot launched a missile straight toward a human squad. Before it reached them, one of the humans raised her hand. Her armor shimmered, and the missile simply stopped in midair. It spun once. Then it turned around. Boom. The explosion wiped out the enemy position instantly. A council scout hiding nearby gasped. He tried to send the data to the main server, but a human noticed him. The soldier walked over, calm, unhurried. The scout trembled. But please, I am not the enemy. The human didn't respond. Instead, he placed a small tag on the scout's chest. A green light blinked, registered. Protected, said a voice from the tag. Then the human disappeared into the shadows again. In the main Capitol Hall, Council Leader Ralvik met with his advisors. We don't know what Earth sent us, said the defense chief. But it's not normal aid. These humans, they're trained for something else. Ralvik nodded. I agree. They act like they've done this before. Many times. One elder leaned forward. Do you think Earth is testing us? Testing? Ralvik frowned. Yes, to see if we're worth saving. Or worth owning. That silence again. Everyone in the room felt it, the same cold silence the humans brought. With them, it was louder than any war cry. In the ruins of the southern gate. The fight was brutal. The enemy machines had adapted. They brought out heavier bots giants, made of thick armor and brutal weapons. The air sizzled with plasma. But the humans didn't slow. One of them, taller than the rest, stepped forward alone. He carried no gun. Just a thin staff strapped to his back. When the enemy bots fired, he dodged like a ghost. Not once, not twice. Every blast missed him by inches. Then he moved. Fast. Too fast. A staff was suddenly in his hand and glowing. One strike. 2. 3 bots collapsed, sliced apart like paper. A child hiding under rubble watched him. The soldier turned his head slightly. Stay down, his voice echoed from the helmet. It was the first word she heard from any of them. Back at the command tower, a strange alert appeared on the screen. The Earth team had connected their AI network to the city's systems. They're mapping everything, said the tech officer. Our power grid, our communications, even our medical centers. Ralvik asked, are they helping or taking over? The screen answered for him. Defense grid recalibrated. Civilian shelters reinforced. Medical supply routed to Sector 3. New command relay. Active. Ralvik whispered, they are taking control. The advisor beside him smiled faintly. Good, because we lost control days ago. That night, a silent convoy of Earthwalkers crossed into enemy-controlled zones. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't request aid. They found the largest machine nest in the city's north. A single human one with a glowing staff walked straight into it. Enemy bots rushed forward. He knelt and tapped the ground once. From orbit, a satellite blinked. Moments later, a precision strike came down like a blade from heaven. The explosion was clean, perfect, and terrifying. The entire enemy nest gone, and the human still standing. As the dust settled, the people of Veltria came out of hiding. They didn't cheer. They didn't speak. They just watched because they knew something ancient and powerful had arrived, and the war had already changed. These weren't just soldiers. They were Earth's warning. Earth had heard the call, and now Earth was watching. Asterisk. The smoke had not cleared yet. Ash still floated in the air, and the streets were filled with ruins. But something had changed. The fear was still there, but now, beside it, something new had arrived. Hope. Strange hope. Hope that came not from promises, but from silent, armored shadows. The humans. The people of Veltria whispered about them now. They don't sleep. They don't eat. They never speak. But they watched. They moved. They acted. And the enemy fell before them. Children peeked through broken windows, trying to glimpse these strange creatures from Earth. They weren't like anyone the galaxy had seen. Their armor looked alive. Their movements were sharp, without hesitation. But the scariest thing of all, they showed no emotion. No anger. No fear. No mercy. In the old city center, a council drone hovered above. It recorded what remained of a square, where a battle had taken place only hours ago. What it saw was shocking. Hundreds of enemy machines, twisted metal, scattered limbs. And in the middle, standing calmly, 3 humans. One held a long weapon with blue fire still fading at its tip. One was scanning the bodies with a handheld device. And the third was kneeling beside a wounded Veltrian soldier, bandaging his injuries. The drone zoomed in. The human had removed her helmet. She had a calm face. Young. Her short dark hair was tied back. Her eyes cold and focused, but her hands gentle. She pressed a med patch onto the soldier's arm and whispered something. The drone couldn't pick up the words. But the soldier started crying, not in pain, but in relief. Farther south, in a destroyed temple, now turned command post, a new signal came through. The human squad had found the enemy's central processing node. Council. Leader Ralvik was called to observe. What does this mean? He asked. The Earth team's leader, still helmeted, pointed to the screen. A 3D model showed the city. Red markers everywhere. Dots, lines, patterns. They were watching your people long before the attack began, the human said. They knew where to hit. Ralvik stepped back. They studied us. The human nodded. They chose you because you were weak. The room went silent. Ralvik's voice cracked. And Earth? Why did you come? The helmeted head turned slowly. Because they made a mistake. In the ruins of an old school, 2 human soldiers moved silently. One scanned the area, while the other paused at a half-burned picture on the wall. Children, smiling. Before the war, he picked it up. Held it for a moment, then placed it back. No words, just respect. That night, more humans arrived. Dropships hovered quietly over the mountains. Black armored figures moved through the shadows like wind. They didn't crash through walls or burn everything in their path. They moved with purpose. Calculated. Deadly. They weren't here to fight battles. They were here to end them. Council. Leader Ralvik received a private message from the human. Commander, your people will survive, but your world has changed. Ralvik asked the one question he hadn't dared ask until now. What are you? The human's reply was short. We are from Earth, born on a deathworld, raised for war, designed for survival. But this, he pointed to the ruins, this is our peacekeeping mode. Ralvik felt the blood leave his face. Meanwhile, whispers spread across nearby systems. Veltria had called for help. Earth had responded, but not with ambassadors, not with fleets, with deathworlders. Creatures shaped by the harshest planet in the galaxy. Beings who survived everything and destroyed anything that tried to stop them. In the shadows of Veltria, as buildings were cleared and families reunited, the humans continued their silent work. They didn't ask for thanks. They didn't take rewards. They left behind only one symbol, a silver badge marked with a single black star. People began placing the badges above their doors. Not from fear, but out of respect. Because now they understood. Earth didn't come to be heroes. Earth came to finish what others COULDN single quotes T. And when Earth moved, the galaxy paid attention. Asterisk, the wind was still, like the planet itself was holding its breath. For days, the humans had been moving quietly through Veltria's ruins. Their actions were fast, efficient, and unsettling. They repaired buildings without blueprints, cleared roads without machines, and they never needed rest. But what came next wasn't defense. It was attack. Deep under the old city, a council scout discovered something terrifying, a massive tunnel carved beneath their streets. Black machines, enemy factories, and spiked towers stretched through the underground like roots of a cancer. The scout barely escaped alive. His last words before collapsing? They're building something big. Council leader Ralvik immediately contacted the human command. He expected panic or debate, but the reply came instantly. We know, Ralvik blinked. You already knew? Yes. Why haven't you stopped it? There was a pause. Then the human commander spoke one word: timing. That night, the humans moved like shadows. From every street corner, from abandoned towers and basements, they rose, armor gleaming under the moonlight. Drones swarmed into the air. Satellites locked onto deep enemy heat signatures. Operation began. Veltria's people watched from rooftops and safe zones as the Earth soldiers launched the first strike. The first explosion was silent. A massive enemy tower deep in the mountains simply crumbled into dust. No sound, no flash, just instant collapse. A single human sniper had fired a round from orbit. One shot. One kill. Moments later, a team of 5 humans entered the underground tunnels. No backup. No heavy tanks. Only their suits, their weapons, and absolute focus. Inside the tunnels, it was dark and hot. The enemy machines swarmed like insects, hundreds of them crawling along walls, ceilings, floors, waiting. But Earth soldiers didn't stop. One pulled a device from his back. It clicked once. Blue sparks formed around the team like a spinning field. The machines attacked and died. Every bolt, every claw, every scream, they bounced off the spinning blue field. Then the humans responded. It wasn't loud. It wasn't wild. It was surgical. Clean shots. Perfect throws. Silent blades. Within 60 seconds, over 120 enemy machines were gone. And the humans? Untouched, out above ground. People stared at the sky. The stars shifted. Ships were moving. Veltria had never seen Earth's war fleet, but now, for the first time, one small section revealed itself. A dozen ships hovered above the planet, like silent gods. One of them, long and dark with no windows, rotated slightly. From its belly, beams of light scanned the surface. Suddenly, a ring of fire erupted across the forest near the enemy's forward base. Every enemy machine in that zone was vaporized. A child whispered, "It looks like the sky is helping us." Her father, with fear still in his eyes, only said, "No, That's Earth. In a distant sector, an enemy war beast 4 stories tall, built from twisted metal and plasma cores, charged through a canyon. It had destroyed 5 council defense squads and flattened a village. The beast roared. It never saw the human. She stood in its path, one arm raised. The moment it approached, she slammed her fist into the ground. A wave of energy exploded outwards. Canyon shook. The beast froze, then cracked apart like glass. The woman turned, walked away, and vanished into the mist. Council leader Ralvik stood in front of a large screen as red enemy dots began disappearing one by one. He was no longer afraid, but he wasn't at peace either. Because now he understood. Earth didn't fight like anyone else. They didn't hope to win. They planned to erase their enemies. One of Ralvik's advisors turned to him. These humans, they fight like it's personal, Ralvik whispered. Maybe it is. Far beneath the capital, the Earth team reached the heart of the tunnels. The enemy, core pulsing, alive, was building something massive. A gateway, a weapon, a new army. They didn't let it finish. A signal was sent, and from above the planet, a single rod made of dense star metal dropped from orbit like a falling god. It pierced the core and erased it. No blast. No scream. Just silence. Then the tunnels collapsed. And Veltria breathed again. People poured into the streets. Not to cheer, but to stare at the Earth soldiers, now walking openly among them. Still silent. Still watching. One child stepped forward, holding a small flower. She offered it to one of the soldiers. He took off his helmet. He looked human. Tired. And sad. He took the flower gently. Then placed it on his chest plate and walked away. The first strike was over, but the galaxy had now seen what happened. When Earth decided to act, the silence after the first strike was heavier than any battle cry. Veltria stood still. No more gunfire. No more explosions. But the fear wasn't gone. Not yet. Somewhere beyond the horizon, enemy signals were still active. Their machines were still moving, still alive. But something had changed. They were retreating. The enemy had never retreated before. Until now, inside the command tower, Council leader Ralvik stared at a new set of data sent by the humans. Blinking lights moved across a star map. Enemy ships, leaving orbit, some crashing into each other in panic, others self-destructing. Ralvik couldn't believe it. They're running? A quiet voice answered from behind. Yes, said the human commander, and they should. Ralvik turned to face him. The human was tall, with tired eyes and a face marked by too many battles. No helmet this time. Just a cold stare. You broke them, Ralvik whispered. The human didn't smile. We gave them a choice. They chose wrong. In the eastern ruins, a small group of enemy machines had gathered to regroup. They were once confident kings of destruction, but now they twitched, scanned the sky constantly, and moved with hesitation. Then, a sharp sound cracked through the air. Click. Footsteps. Human boots. A single deathworlder walked into the clearing, calm, alone, his weapon at his side. The machines aimed. They prepared a volley, but the human raised one hand. He held up a small black cube and crushed it in his palm. The machines scanned the signal. And froze. The cube had been a virus custom built by Earth's AI, designed for one thing, to turn enemy minds into static. The bots began spinning. One fired at its own kind. Another fell to the ground. Shaking. The human walked away without firing a shot. Elsewhere, across the city, aliens who had been prisoners in their own homes now stepped out. They peeked from doorways, walked out of bunkers. Families reunited. In the ashes, some cried. Some didn't understand what had happened. All they saw were humans, moving through the streets, cleaning up the remains of a war that wasn't even theirs. In a quiet courtyard, a Veltrian healer worked beside a human. Medic, an injured child clung to life. The healer wept. Her lungs are failing. Our tools won't help. The human placed his med pack on the floor, opened it, and pulled out a small pod. I'll take care of it, he said softly. The healer watched as the human injected the child, scanned her vitals, and used a small tube to help her breathe again. Minutes passed. The child opened her eyes. Alive. News spread like fire. Earth saved us. They fought with no payment. They protected even our children. And far away, in distant star systems, others were listening. Enemies, allies, and those who thought Earth was weak. Now, they were afraid. A council meeting was called. Not in secret this time, but broadcast across Veltria. Ralvek stood before. The people, we sent a desperate cry into space, he said. We expected silence, but Earth answered. He paused, but we didn't just receive help. We were shown power wrapped in silence. In discipline, in purpose. The people listened. Ralvik continued. Earth did not send diplomats. It sent its most dangerous. And now the enemy breaks. In the mountains, one final battle took place. A large enemy commander, a towering machine with spikes and plasma claws, refused to flee. It destroyed entire cities. Now, it stood alone. Waiting. 4 humans approached. They didn't run. They didn't shout. They surrounded the machine with glowing beacons and activated them. In seconds, the machine froze in place, locked in stasis. Its systems shut down. The humans walked up to it. One placed a hand on its cold metal chest. We could have destroyed you, he said. Then he whispered one final sentence. But we needed a message. And with a single shot, he ended it. That image of the humans walking away from the lifeless enemy war beast was sent across 100 worlds. It carried no flag, no anthem, just one caption. This is Earth's mercy. Back on Veltria, stars filled the night sky again. But now people looked at them differently. They wondered if these were Earth's dangerous ones. What else was Earth hiding? Asterisk, it began with a signal. Not from the enemy. From Earth. Not just one line, broadcast through every major Veltrian frequency. This was a warning. No voice, no explanation, no demand. Just those 4 words. And then, silence. Again. Council. Leader Ralvek sat alone in the top tower, staring at the message blinking on the screen. His people were alive. His city was saved. The enemy was gone. But he felt no peace, because something deeper had awakened, something ancient and terrifying. Earth. The next day, Earth's units stopped all movement. No patrols. No strikes. They returned to their drop zones and stood still silent, like statues. Veltria's skies cleared. The war was over. Yet everyone watched the humans with caution. They're not leaving, one council member said nervously. They don't need TO, another replied. They already control everything. In the city's main square, a huge black banner was raised, not by humans, but by Veltrian civilians. It wasn't Earth's flag. It was a single black circle on a white cloth. A symbol of silence. The humans didn't ask for it. But the people of Veltria needed something to show their respect and their fear. Inside the council chamber, Ralvik met with Earth's leader finally, face to face. The human removed his helmet. Face was calm, ordinary, but his eyes? Old, like someone who had seen 1,000 wars. Ralvik didn't speak at first. He only asked one question. Why did you come? The human leaned forward slowly. Because your scream was honest. Ralvik blinked. What does that mean? We don't come for power. We don't come for politics. But when someone cries for help with no games, no lies, Earth listens. Ralvik's hands trembled slightly. Are you going to stay? The human's answer came without hesitation. No. That same night, Earth ships began powering up again. The skies lit with strange energy. Their departure was silent, just like their arrival. But before they left, they gave Veltria one thing, a black cube, unbreakable, cold, the size of a human heart. It was placed on a pedestal in the center of the city. No buttons, no lights, just a small engraving. Activate only when it happens again. Ralvik ordered no one to touch it, not even scientists. Earth left it behind not as a gift, he told his people, but as a choice. Across the galaxy, the message spread. Veltria was saved, but at a cost. Not in credits. But in control. Because once Earth gets involved, nothing is the same. On a faraway world, in a distant system, a secret council watched the footage in silence. Alien leader hissed, "They did all this with only one unit?" Another whispered, "Then what happens when they send more?" A third stood up, eyes wide with dread. "We must change our strategy. Earth cannot be provoked, ever." Meanwhile, back on Veltria, something unexpected happened. One human just. One stayed behind. A woman, the same one who had saved the child with the medpack. She didn't return to the ship. She didn't speak much. She simply walked through the damaged neighborhoods and helped repair homes. When someone asked why she stayed, she said only one sentence: "Someone should remember." Children followed her now, not out of fear but wonder. She laughed quietly with them, showed them how to use simple tools, even taught one boy how to grow food in broken soil. Her armor was gone. Her weapons packed away, but the people still called her the Silent Guardian. Days passed, then weeks. Veltria began to breathe again. Markets reopened, schools restarted. Songs were sung again, but the fear never fully vanished. It had simply evolved. It wasn't fear of the enemy anymore. It was fear of losing Earth's trust. Because now the galaxy knew Earth only comes once, and if called again, they may not come to save. They may come to end. Veltria had changed, not just the buildings, not just the burned streets or rebuilt towers. The people had changed. They walked differently now, shoulders straighter, heads higher, but eyes always watching the sky, wondering, remembering. Them. The humans, the deathworlders, the silent ones who answered when no one else did, and left before anyone could truly understand who or what they were. In the capital square, the black cube still stood on its pedestal. Untouched. UNOVING. But every morning, someone placed a fresh flower beside it. No one knew who. No one needed. To the flower meant something simple. Thank you. Council leader Ralvik stood before the monument weeks later. His speech was broadcast across the planet and beyond. "We begged for help. The galaxy turned its back," he said, voice firm. "But Earth came without asking for anything." He looked around, "And we now understand why they are feared." He turned toward the camera, "And why that fear is earned." Elsewhere in the galaxy, the message echoed louder than any explosion. Do not test Earth. Many races rewrote their policies. Governments that once mocked Earth's isolation now sent respectful envoys. Some tried to invite Earth to their councils, to negotiate, to ally. Earth replied to none. Only silence. In a hidden chamber of the old council, a few leaders debated in secret. Should we send a gift? A thank you? Try to open relations? One of them shook his head slowly. You don't send gifts to a storm. In the shadows of a spaceport, the last human, the woman who had stayed behind, prepared to leave. The children who had followed. Her cried softly. She knelt before them. "You are strong now," she said, voice low but warm. You've seen what survival means. Not just fighting, but protecting. A small girl hugged her tightly. Will you come back? The woman smiled. If you're lucky, you'll never need me again. Then she stood, boarded a silent pod, and rose into the sky, on board Earth's lead warship. High above Veltria, the commander watched as the planet shrank into the distance. One officer spoke carefully. Sir, we never used full force. Should we have done more? The commander shook his head. They needed protection, not domination. But what if they betray that trust? The commander's eyes narrowed. Then we won't send a squad next time. He turned to the stars. We'll send the fleet. Decades passed. Veltria thrived. Statues were built. Children learned about Earth in schools, not as invaders, not even as saviors. As a warning, a reminder that when the galaxy turns its back on you, there is one place, one planet, one people who might still come. But if they do, you must never forget what they're. Far away, in a distant system, a new war had begun. Another desperate planet sent out a message in old Veltrian frequency. Long lost to time, the signal reached Earth. Deep inside a silent command center on the moon, lights turned red again. Systems activated. No speeches. No votes. Just one symbol. Word blinking on every screen. Mobilize, because the galaxy never forgets Earth. And Earth? Earth never forgets the cry for help. The end. Asterisk.